Okay, perfect. Awesome. And there's still a couple people coming in. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Hey, Etka. All right. So let's just dive in to a little bit about the full moon, right? Because that's why we're here. So we are in a full moon in Aries, right? And so Aries is that warrior archetypal energy. And I always think of like carnelian and tiger's eye, really good crystals to work with for that, right? So if you have the crystals, this is a good night to work with those. If you're into essential oils, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that puts my little carnelian heart or my little palm to shame. But
Octavia is here.
oh, I love it. So yeah, carnelian. Those are great crystals to work with. If you're into essential oils, what I really love for full moons is rosemary because it's absolutely fantastic for like cleansing out the shadows. So is juniper. Juniper is actually like the shadow walker of all oils. It actually works within your dream state as well. It kind of helps with retrieving the information from the nightmares, right? But rosemary is great at cleansing and protecting. I love this one. And then also like valor, because if you think about the warrior kind of energy, it is that strength, that internal strength and valor that we need to continue on our path. And that is really that's what Aries is asking us, right? As a healed aspect of that warrior energy, that is going to be talking about like being a steward of the earth, being a protector of the creation of all. Dragons have been really prevalent today in my world. I know Sarah's had a couple experiences too. So this is, if we think about the dragon energy, they are the warriors, they are the protectors of creation itself. And if we think about creation, that's that feminine creatrix energy within all of us. So we need this kind of Aries warrior energy so we can be protected, so we can take the steps forward, right? This also is about leadership, and where in your life are you being asked to step into that role of leadership, right? This could be work, this could be relationships, this could be a higher calling, your soul's calling. This is also an empowered warrior is one who is really like pioneering. It's like going forward into the unknown, which so many of us have been feeling that, right? Like the energies just like keep cycling us through, like, and it's like we have to finally say, fine, I get it. I'm going to listen this time. Like, I mean,
Amen.
give me a hands up if you guys have been feeling that, right? So we are, yeah, I love that. So we are pioneering into this new energy, right? Like it's an unknown energy for us. It's kind of uncharted territory. And so we have to have that courage within us to take those steps. And then of course, the empowered version of Aries is going to have that confidence to lead, that confidence to be the pioneer, that confidence to take the steps. Okay. And so we might be feeling that. But the flip side to that, and remember, there's always two to a coin, right? Always two sides to the coin. The flip side of that is going to be that shadow, right? And the shadow is that anger, that lashing out. Like I say, like speak with fire, right? Not in a productive way, like the fiery, harmful way, right? So it's agitation, aggression, it's fighting, it's frustration, right? And when we feel frustrated, if you're not in alignment with your shadow self and with your ego, right, and with your higher self, like if you're not, then that leads to the lashing out, that leads to further pain and trauma. Okay, so just acknowledging where you've been feeling like, and put in the comments, I'd love for you guys to put in the comments, like, what have you been feeling like today? Has there been moments of like big release? Has there been like, have you been on cloud nine? Have you been feeling, kind of like out of it? Just type below and know that all feelings are welcomed here, right? We all have all the feelings. My candle flame just started flickering when you said that. Ooh. So see, there you go. So some of the things that we can start to think about too is where are we creating this division in our own lives? Frustration, anxiety, sadness, nervousness. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And holding space for yourself and compassion for yourself when you're feeling that, right? That's saying feeling anxious. Yeah. And do you have like a root to that? Do you know what that root is, or is it feeling like just out of the blue? All of the above.
All the shadows are being purged at once.
Mhm. Worksheet. Mhm. Yeah. And so asking yourself, are you creating division within your life? And this is for everyone, right? Are we creating division in our life because we're afraid to step into our truth? Are we, for me, I know this is a personal shadow that I'm working with, is I'm superwoman and I'm too independent. It's hard for me to reach out for help. It's hard for me to accept when someone offers help. And that's like something I'm like, you know? And so just being curious with that energy, and where are you too independent? Where is it that you're unable to ask for support? And what is the root of that, right? And then the last question that I had here is, if we think about Aries, like the exact opposite is Libra. And we just had that new moon in Libra. So we are literally in this month, like balance, unity, love, shadows, fuck. Excuse my language, but you know what I mean? It's like, so how is it in our life right now? How can we come together in unity? How can we come from that shadow, fear, aggressive side and into that more empowered side where we can create the balance, where we can learn to hold duality, right? And I know Sarah is amazing at talking about duality, and she really helped me to understand like the safe container to be able to come from that neutral space. So I just want to kind of just pick your brain a little bit, Sarah. Like, what is your perspective on the information that I just shared, and those opposite sides of the spectrum?
Yeah, I mean, when you really think about it, our shadows are where we're hiding all of our unresolved parts. And the reason why they're hiding is because we don't have the capacity in our body to be able to actually transmute it. So shadows are about transmuting, and our society prefers to shove it under the rug and not feel it. So it begins to actually manifest in our bodies. It manifests outside in reality. People are cutting us off on the highway. They're angry in the line. It's manifesting outward, and people aren't aware that they're projecting outward because it's a safety thing. It's our body's way of remaining safe. So we project outward. So when we really begin to understand the balance between our quote unquote light and our dark side, the dark side is just our asking us to embody and sit with it. So when something really frustrates us, it's most likely not from this lifetime, probably not even hundreds of lifetimes ago. It's probably from thousands, if not eons ago. And it's alive within your blood, and it's moving through our system. And our nervous system is so on fire all the time that we don't have the capacity to be able to actually transmute this out through our body. So we get really uncomfortable. I know, because I'm a very fiery person. I'm a water sign, but I'm a very fiery person. And I can remember as a child, when I would feel something and I would start to shake, and I would have to just do whatever I needed to do to get that out. And I was constantly told, Sarah, just sit down and shut up. I would stand on a chair and scream, or I would hit a pillow, or that was seen as aggressive or horrible. But in reality, that's when we are so overloaded with our shadows, when our body's at the point where it's just like, I need to get this out, and I'm going to do it in a destructive way because you're not listening to me. So we want to get to the point where we're not destructive to ourselves and others. Like, this is the ugly healing that's going on right now, is everyone's projecting onto each other. And we have to be okay with feeling frustrated. We have to be okay with feeling angry. We have to be okay with feeling overwhelmed, because you're actually being asked, your body's like, it's time now to transmute this. You have enough room in you to work through this, and it will open like floodgates through you if you just sit with it and not try to fix it, but just feel it where it is in your body and just let it fall to the earth. you know, and I see kids struggle all the time because they don't know how to deal with their shadows, quote unquote, their emotions, right? And I just see them get frustrated, and their parents just want them to shut up for a moment. And it's just like I grab my kids and I just say, do what you need to do,
Mhm.
get it out, transmute it the best way you possibly can, and I will create a safe container for you to not hurt yourself or someone else in this process. Um, but we can't continue to heal this way anymore, right? Because the more we come to the surface of the shadows are our allies. The shadows are our friends. Our shadows is where we actually can learn how to glow from the inside out and create this projection of beautiful light that is, I mean, the darkness to me is all the colors absorbed, right? So it's like we are all voids together. We just need to ignite the flame within each one of us. And through our shadows and through being neutral as much as possible, we can really start to transmute. Because if we're trying to feel something in our body and we're triggered by everything else, I always say, please remove yourself from a situation if possible. Remove yourself. Like I have like cues in my family where I'm like, I've done enough peopling. I need to go transmute shit. I will be in the car, you know, like I have my, so you have to find a safe container that is specific to you. And some people like to work out. Some people like to meditate. Some people like to, what is transmuting? So transmuting energy is actually feeling with it in your body. I just saw that question pop up. It's actually feeling with it in your body and you're releasing it entirely.
Mhm.
So you're actually allowing yourself to be that channel, because we are all channels, and you're actually feeling it. You're not resisting it. You're not trying to fight it. You're not trying to figure it out or fix it. You're just letting it be and letting it fall. Right.
And
So
I,
it's surrendering. Go
and I
ahead.
want to say too that that's our normal state
Mm-hmm.
as a human light body, if we want to call ourselves, right? We are light bodies and we have these pillars of light that run all the way up and all the way through us. We think about our seven chakras, most of us know those, but our pillar of light is always receiving information. It's receiving
Yes.
information from our environment, it's from the universe, from the stars, from the earth. And so when there is so much consciousness on the planet, like you talked about, people, cutting you off, people, like some lady was going nuts. It was 7 a.m. and she was going nuts at the cash register on Reddit. I'm like, how can you even talk about that at 7 a.m.? Like, there's so much noise. And so what's happening is we're absorbing this. And if we don't know how to transmute, and not even how, but that this is our birthright, is to transmute it. If we're not aware of it, then we're just holding on to it. And that's
Yeah.
not our purpose. Our purpose is to let it flow. So it is about acknowledging it, right? It's understanding. Oh yeah, amethyst is amazing. I'm wearing amethyst today. But it's really about, allowing it just to, like you said, feeling it in your body, understanding too. You brought up the pain in the body. Our ego also, we have a pain body that is actually attached to the ego. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we have pain that isn't actually a bum leg, right? It's actually something that you're holding on to from this life or past lives.
Yeah.
And so we can start to understand that, oh, every time I'm about to up level, or every time I am going to work out, like my knee goes wonky. Or for me, for a long time, well, it still happens, is my lower back. Like I have issues with my
Yeah.
lower back when I'm going through a pattern. And so it's about acknowledging, wow, this is more than just taking ibuprofen, which I'm not saying that's
Mm-hmm.
wrong, right? You do what you need to do. Always consult a doctor if you have any kind of issues. Um, but it's about like understanding your patterns and feeling it in your body, and instead of just like shoving it under the rug or taking a pill, like tune in. When was the last time I felt this? What was I going through then? And just even making a journal notes of it, like what's going on. And you can literally talk to your pain body and just say, okay, lower back, I see you. What's up now? Like, what do I need to learn? How do I need to grow through this? What am I resisting? What am I not seeing? What am I ignoring? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you, a lot of times, just acknowledging, oh, that's my pain body, it will subside. It's amazing. Like when
Yeah.
it's weird stuff, like when you're working out and you're about ready to quit and you're like, oh, you know, you're in your mind, and then something, oh, my low back hurts. And then you're like, is that really my low back? And then all of a sudden you're like, you got like 10 more reps, right? So it's something that we forget about, and we're so conditioned to just cover it up. But when we can actually communicate with our bodies and communicate with our minds and our higher selves, things really start to shift. And I just wanted to bring that up. I had so many little notes. I'm like, there's so much I could talk about here.
I mean,
Did you have any more?
honestly,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I talk about this all the time about being neutral, but in reality, when we're so overwhelmed, it's hard for somebody to just switch being neutral, right? It's just because being neutral gives you the opportunity to transmute energy, right? But I always say to people, like, if you take a few deep breaths, just like 15 seconds of deep breaths, it brings brings your body out of a fight or flight state. So your nervous system isn't like, like on hyperdrive, right? And it brings your body down where you can actually start looking around 360 around your life. So we actually have to now start recognizing that our bodies, because we are in this 3D reality on the earth, our bodies belong to the earth. We have to now start working with our bodies and the earth together, right? And the waters that flow within us are the sacred waters that flow around the earth. And just think about it. Our waters are over polluted. Why do you think that? Because our words, our vibrations, our feelings, our vibrations, and the waters within us are matching the waters out there. So it's important that we start to take responsibility for what we're feeling, and it's not out there, it's all within us. And it can feel overwhelming about how much we can see. Then as soon as we start to open our eyes, we start to see that everyone's a reflection of me. And it kind of sucks because when you have to swallow the pill sometimes, um, it's learning to go through that death process over and over again, so you can master the death process, so that you can now move forward past that threshold and regain your power of who you really are. And in reality, when you keep walking over those thresholds, you realize that you are an infinite being that has a soul job to do. And it doesn't matter what everyone else is doing. What matters is how your heart is moving through the planet.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. I love that. How do you guys feel about that? You feel that heart expansion as we're talking? You're like, ah, I feel that in the group. I feel you guys are like, not just my heart, right? We're getting it. And so when it comes to, so I always think about, you know, holding that neutral space. And I want to just bring this up too. That's, you know, I kind of talked about that. The neutral space is that warrior. It is that masculine energy within us, right? And we need that. But another thing that we need to also remember is the feminine role in this too. So when we think about traveling to the underworld or the shadow self or whatever you want to call it, right? There's like two aspects that play out. We have that warrior, which is the neutral space, which Sarah is amazing at teaching people how to do that. I mean, she helped me when I was going through a lot of stuff, still going through a lot of stuff, but she's definitely helps to bring that back. And then there's the other version, which is the feminine, right? And that's like uncovering that there's like a bliss to it. Like, so when the shadows come up, when you're faced with all this, like, how can you lean into it and be like, oh, this is going to be fun. I'm going to find so many amazing blessings in this. So there's a mindset shift that can occur. It can take practice, absolutely. This stuff doesn't always happen overnight. Sometimes it doesn't have to be hard. Sometimes it just depends on the person and the situation, right? But the feminine aspect is like that receiving and taking it in, taking the shadows in, but doing it with like this ecstatic, like, oh yeah, I'm doing this and this is going to be awesome, because there's so many blessings and nuggets in every single thing that I'm uncovering. And so, you know, we say try not to have judgment. As humans, we judge when thoughts come in, and that's programming, right? That's us, you know, competition, that's programming of society. And so acknowledging when you're judging yourself, right? Acknowledging when it's coming up, and just seeing it for what it is and not attaching to that, not attaching to the thoughts that are coming in, understanding that you're not them. And when you do that, when you can let go of that attachment to that thought, you can actually bring it in to transmute it, right? So that's that feminine aspect where we're bringing it into the body and letting it flow out. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah. So we need both sides. And so when we talk about the feminine and masculine, um, we need both. We need both. It's important. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the dark mother and then the light mother. It's like, I always say there's like thousands of versions of Mother Mary, like thousands, thousands
Hmm.
of versions. Yeah, Kali too.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
there's so many faces. And when you talk about the warrior, I feel like there are stages to the warrior as well, because, at first we really fight things and we're there to protect. And what are we there to really protect? Ourselves from ourselves. We're really only protecting ourselves from ourselves. We're not protecting our children or our spouse or our family. We're literally, we are going to create damage to ourselves because we are a mirror of each other. So it's just, as you move through the stages of the warrior, you get to the point where you don't have to carry a weapon. You just walk straight into everything, and your energy doesn't disrupt anyone else's energy. And that to me is like that full cycle of the warrior is actually embodying both the masculine and the feminine, and knowing that your power alone cannot be tampered with. Like you've been through that death, you understand, and then you just keep moving.
And I think that you said that what came up for me is like, it reminds me of the Christed consciousness, which is a chakra, our 12th chakra. When we tune into that energy, we just are, right? We
Yeah.
just become. We are that walking prayer. And when we walk into a room, we don't have to do anything. That's why like Yeshua, Mary Magdalene's teachings were so simple and pure. They didn't have big churches. They did it wherever they were called, wherever spirit led them, and they just did it, right? It was so simple. And so sometimes we overcomplicate things. And so
Yeah.
finding that neutral space, understanding the shadows, not attaching to it, forgiving yourself when there's moments of judgment, and really coming back to just being and understanding that this is your natural state, right? And that we are
Mm.
all able to tune into that. And again, it can require some work, but the more you tune in, the more you are observant of the self and the body, the easier it does get.
Yeah.
You know?
And you bring up a really good word, and that's attachment. And I'm constantly teaching the art of non-attachment, because we can love something so much that we'll kill it. And like we all, like, I my ears
That's
peak up
the
when
wounded feminine.
yes,
That's the
yes, we like
wounded
over
feminine.
mother things. That's like our fire has been smothered out, so we have to overly mother things. And the attachment, like I like for my children, we both have young children, so we're always constantly talking about that. um I don't attach to my children. Their lives are their lives and their lives alone. I am here to create a safe container for them to develop into whatever it is that their soul needs. And by me attaching an idea or a belief or anything upon them, I'm actually, making them backpedal in their journey process. So it's like, I'm that horrible person that uses my children as a science experiment. And I've done that from the start. But I literally can have conversations with my kids now. My oldest can hop in the car after school and be like, Mom, did you know that our souls, this was today, Mom, did you know that our souls rode on dragons through every planet? And I said, did you know that dragons make planets? And he's like, yes.
I love that. Oh, I love that. And I love, and you said something earlier too about the children and seeing it in the children and how they can't transmute. And a lot of the people that I work with is their inner child. So even if you don't have children that are young or whatever, like you can still tune into that energy too within yourself. And so understanding your inner child is there as well as the feminine, the masculine child. It's all there to help you discover your path, right? To discover your dharma, if you want to call it that. And you can tune in to your inner child and literally ask what you need every single day. And I believe that that's your soul path. I really
Yes.
do.
And actually a good question to ask yourself, if you don't have, children to project onto or anything, is like, How do you receive love?
Mm.
How do you receive love when somebody gives you a compliment? Like, how you respond and how your body responds is how your inner child is hidden in the shadows, like all curled up. Because let's face it, like, most of us have the very similar story where we didn't receive the love that we wish we could have, like our souls wish we could have from our own parents. And now we're trying to move through life trying to receive the love that we didn't get. So that is like one of the deepest shadows. So when people are working with the inner child, I'm always asking, well, how do you give and receive love? Because usually they're the ones that overgive love, and over and over and literally drain themselves dry. But when they're receiving something, they literally recoil and they don't know how to take a compliment. And I'm guilty of that too. I mean, I'm recovering from that as well. I mean, it is what it is. So it's yes, Hector. I miss you, Hector. But yeah, I mean, so when it comes to the inner child, it's, how do you receive love? And ask, if you you know me, I'm always about asking the right questions, and I'm always about very specifically asking questions, and literally that's my job. And how do you receive love on a regular basis? And that will help you kind of get back into balance with who you really are.
Mhm. Yeah. So, okay, so I have a couple other questions, but I feel like I want to open it up to you guys. Do you guys have any questions or any experiences that you've been going through? You can unmute yourself if you want, if that's easier than typing. And we can just I just feel like there's some questions out there. Deep shit. Right, right. But yeah, if you have any questions, or comments or whatever, just go ahead and unmute yourself, or you can put it in the chat box if you'd like, before we go into more. Unless you're just loving the show.
Loving the show.
I got this just, hey, I'm drinking this just for you today, Beth.
Oh, I love Halloween.
I know.
Let's see. Katrina said, how do I settle my anxieties when there are so many unknowns? Okay, so that's projecting out into the future. So do you mind if I answer?
Oh yeah, you're already on it. Yeah.
So when we project out into the future, we are splitting ourselves. We are splintering ourselves. We are throwing ourselves out of our bodies. And I know there's certain things that we would like to know about, but you're really reaching outside of yourself for an answer that's really within you. So when it comes to anxieties, it's kind of like the levels of the body is getting to the point where now it's in a fight or flight state. And it's your ego is just trying to get an answer for you. And it's just, it's like a 3-ring circus at that point. So I always say, calm the monkeys in the brain by, bringing yourself back to your center. Like, find your baseline. How do you feel after you come out of meditation? How do you feel after you come out of a nice hot shower? How do you feel? Like, what are the activities that you like that when you come out and you go, like, that is your baseline. And when you have anxieties, you're so separated from yourself that it's actually causing pain in your body. Like, we have symptoms like migraines and stomach aches, and we tend to grab towards things that will, like food, TV, scrolling on Facebook, things like that, to keep us outside of our body even more.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you have, Athena?
Well, and and again, it's about us being aware of it in the first place, but also know that a lot of it is still social conditioning. There's a lot of conditioning that we are being asked to acknowledge. So, getting to the root of it, getting to the root of where that stems from. I mean, not every single time do you have to go in super deep to the shadows, but understanding, like, where is it that you didn't feel safe in your body? Why do you feel like you have to think about the future all the time? Where did this first originate within your life? And you can start to find patterns. And I think the patterns are a really powerful way of understanding ourselves and just acknowledging it. And you know me, I'm all about yoga. So yoga is a baseline. It is a great practice to get back to the breath. And for me, it's always, people think about yogis and meditators like they're just like, like nothing's happening. No, it's a constant, yeah, I love yoga. It's a constant practice of acknowledging the thought. Oh, I just had a thought, but not attaching to it, right? Like I say all the time, it's like when you see the cloud, you're like, oh, there's a cloud, but you don't attach to the cloud. Like that's my cloud or that cloud, like you just say, oh, there's a pretty cloud. Maybe if it's a dragon, you're like, oh my God, it's a dragon cloud, but you don't attach to it, right? And so it's the same thing when your thoughts start coming in, you start to see that pattern, you look at it, you see it for what it is, you don't attach, you come back to your breath. And sometimes, especially when you are really heightened in that state of fear or anxiety, like it can be very difficult at first, but just continue the practice, continue observing, witnessing, and you become that curious observer. You're just curious, like, oh, what's that? Okay, cool. And then if you feel like you need to go in, that's when you're like, all right, we're going into this one. Let's see. And a lot of times you'll get additional insight to that when you can slow down and go in. You can get additional insight if you slow down. Like, where's this stemming from? Ask your higher self, pull in your higher self. Always, your higher self is you. It's like infinite, has access to everything, right? It knows everything. So connect to your soul, your heart, your higher self, and the messages will start to come forward. And I know you guys, especially at the beginning, you'll be like, oh, what's this? Oh, what's this? What's this mean? What's this mean? Trust me, I'm an adventurer. I like to explore stuff, so I can get caught in that. But even when you get caught in that, you got to come back to the breath, right? And so just practice that. Practice the breath. Practice as the thought comes up. See it, feel it, know it, release it. Come back to the breath. Okay, so that's just a practice I love doing, and I swear, yoga will get you into your body and out of your head. Okay.
And a little tip that I use, because curiosity, I love that you use that, because I'm curious about everything, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, because our perspective makes it good, bad, or indifferent. I used to get caught in the hamster wheel of like trying to figure out where it came from, but I like to go to the root and figure out, what does that actually mean to me? So if I'm having an anxiety attack, back when I almost committed suicide and I don't want to be here anymore and life just sucks, you had to get to a point where you're like, what does this mean to me? Like to me, not to my parents or my children or anything else. What does this all mean to me? And it just helps me kind of peel back the layers of like, at the end, it doesn't mean anything. Why the hell am I in this? Like, what? Like, this is conditioning. Why am I fighting myself about this? This is bullshit. That's my fiery self, and I just basically go F it and walk away. But sometimes we get to the bottom of something, we find what we value, right? We find that what that means to me is that person wasn't of integrity. And that really bothers me, because integrity is everything to me. And I just got to the bottom of a shadow and said, I stand for integrity, and I'm gonna hold that as my flame moving forward, while I gain the courage to continue to move forward.
And I like that you kind of brought in the opposites, because that reminded me of, that Aries energy that we're in is we have this fiery need to move forward and to do these things. And we can have like fear or anger, right? This anger can come in. So if you look at your anger, if you are someone who that's one of your things, you move into anger and you're like, oh, what happens is, what's the opposite of that? The opposite of anger is passion. So what are you passionate about, right? So you can flip it, right? You can flip, like maybe it is, it's fear. And so the opposite of that would be like courage. And so where in your life are you needing courage? And so we can use this Aries energy, and you can journal like after today's call, like what have you been feeling and what's the opposite of that? Because that's that hidden gem. You can flip it and you can find that hidden gem there. And another thing that you can do too is, if you're feeling it, especially like in the chakra system, like each chakra has a different like emotion, right? So you can find if it's a negative emotion, maybe it's in your heart and you're feeling grief, and so what's the opposite of that, so tuning into your own energetic body, you can use those as maps, as tools to start to understand what it is you're actually feeling. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna let you talk because I have someone trying to get in and she says it's invalid. So hold on. You go ahead and talk. Or if
Well, do
anybody
we
has
have any other
questions.
questions? Let's see. Well, I do know that when it comes to our shadows, I've done enough transmuting that what comes in out of it is that once we embrace the story that is moving within it. So shamanic understanding, everything in our life is a story. And we buy into our story, right? That's you know, I always say when we sit by Grandfather Fire gave us the ability to dream, to imagine, and to create. This is how we evolve, is through our stories. So when we finally get to the point where we recognize our story is part of the trauma, is part of the shadow, we can alter our story. You know, you can call it psychopomp or things like that, but we don't want to necessarily alter the story. We want to just add an ending to it that opens it up to the vastness that is available to us. Because typically when we are high anxiety and we're afraid of the unknowns is because we always put the in the end and the other shoe's going to drop, or we put at the end that and he's going to leave me, and you know, like we have all those preconceived stories. So once we recognize the stories and we actually pull the lesson, so we find the pattern and we pull the lesson out of it, like what is this trying to teach me? Like this is a shitty situation that I'm around very similar people, very similar situations. What is the beauty out of it? And when we acknowledge the gift that's in that shadow, then the karma dissolves entirely. And it's kind of like a new way of transmuting. I call it, if to me, it feels like as your, you know how when you have pins and needles, and just as everything starts to wake up, it really hurts at first. And then it's like, you feel like the blood moving through your body again. It's like, that's how it feels to transmute. And I literally feel the debt being paid and removed from the body. And that's actually making sure that we connect the body to this process, because we can do, you know, Athena and I both know we can do everything in the energetics and make everything squeaky clean in the energetics. But it's not going to mean jack shit if you don't change your story, open it up at the end, acknowledge the shadows, and feel it through your body. So, you know, some traditions don't believe in karma, but shamanically, we know that we want to pay back our debts, not create any more karma. And that way, when we transition through each threshold, it isn't as resistant every single time, because every single time we evolve, we move past another threshold, we're met with all of our demons and our other faces and our other, you know, we're all met with that every single time, and it becomes lighter and lighter and lighter. That's why the spiral is such an important symbol for me, and because that is a representation of the journey of becoming lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. I wish it would happen physically, but we're still working on that.
Okay, sorry, I'm still someone's having issues. I sent a couple different links and
Oh, that's okay.
hopefully she can have the replay. And you know, and in the spiritual community, some people believe that like karma doesn't really exist anymore. And I think that maybe in future, maybe that could be a possibility. But I think what's happening right now for a lot of us is it's coming quicker. It's coming faster. There's so much coming at us because energetically we are able, like you said earlier today, we're able to hold more of that light now. And so it's like, okay, let's do this. And another reason that it's coming so quick is because the earth has already elevated in consciousness. Like, it's humanity that has to keep up with the planet, right? And so it's this, like, for me, I have this inner calling that it's like not only for myself, but it's like guiding other people to do this, guiding other people to understand their consciousness and to expand it. And I just want to kind of talk about like the 3 phases of the mother. I work a lot with the goddess archetypal energy. And if we think about the three phases of the mother right now, humanity is in the shadow phase or the Maya phase or the illusion phase, right? And some of us, like all of us on this call, we are moving into the Shakti phase. So we go from this illusionary place where we're in amnesia, we forget, we don't know, we don't remember who we are or what our truth is. We're just like these little robots, like, you know, doing our thing. And then all of a sudden, I'm sure all of you guys had an aha moment where you had some kind of experience where you're like, this can't be it. There's something more. Like your heart expands, you get the goosebumps. You're just like, oh, give me a yes below, or give me a high five or a hands up if you know. Yeah, you felt that. You're like, oh, there's something else. And so what happened is you're starting to move out of that first phase of the mother, which is that shadow illusionary part, and you come into the Shakti. And this is where you start your practices. This is where shadow work still comes into play. This is where yoga comes into play. This is where understanding the power of your kundalini. This is understanding your psychic abilities. We all have them. This is like really bringing it up and channeling it for the betterment of the world and of the self. And then from there, our hope is that we move into the actual final phase of the mother, which is the great mother. Like it is how we can be of service to the planet, how we can be of service to the world, right? And so we as humanity, as a collective and individually, are moving through this. So I think like in this golden age that we're in, it kind of reminds me of the Atlantean era, where they moved from the dark ages to the light and they fell again. And we're being reminded of these times. So some of you guys may have had dreams, or like all of a sudden you're intrigued with Atlantis and Lemuria. Like this energy is coming up for us again, not to make the same mistakes. So we can move through all three phases of the Great Mother so we can shift, right? And so we don't have that big fall again. All right. So just think of it that way. You know, some of you guys are in one phase and you might like get to one phase and then all of a sudden you're, oh, I'm back again. And that's okay too. Just honor the phases that you're in and trust in your process. Okay. And then if you need help, reach out for help, find community, find support, find people who are like-minded that are also moving from the shadows into the Shakti essence. Okay. Right? Like us, like all of us on here.
Wait, no.
All
No, like
healers.
my Annabelle's like lighting up my head right now, because what you just said about Atlantis was like, I was just like literally just putting shit together. So there's this friction that's happening in the planet on the consciousness level. It's like we can all kind of admit that there are so many realities going on at the same time. Like people are speaking out about different things, and you're either going, I'm not too sure about that, or you're going, yes, this some reason sounds out there, but it sounds right. And then you've got hundreds of these all going at once. I mean, you could put conspiracy into one, you could put Galactic Federation into one, you could put all of these things, but what it's causing this friction, this turning point on the planet that is got a little bit of feedback. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute.
So choose. We're being asked to choose with our hearts. So if somebody's like, we are all channels, we are all transmuting different levels of consciousness, and the friction that happened, if you want to say the fall of Atlantis, right, was because there wasn't that many people who felt that they could choose from their heart and go with their soul on that train with the other souls that are like, come on, row, not row in my lane, but row next to me. We're all powerful. I'm not leading you anywhere. We're just rowing on the same train going this way, you know. There's no better or worse or leader or this. That's all ego shit. And we have to realize that there's so much going on at once, and people are all speaking what they fully believe is their truth. But when I work with the crystal skulls and stuff like that, you know me, I'm a digger. Like I grill everything. Like I grill everything to like I'm so annoying in the Star Nation.
That's why we love you.
I'm like, who are you? What are you doing here? I don't know if I can trust you. Are you of integrity? I'm that person. And it's always me on the other side that's just grilling me back anyways, so it's great. We have great conversations. So we have to realize that, guys, go with your heart, take what feels good to you and leave the rest at the door. Like if somebody's offended by that because you don't agree with them, then run. Like just full blown run.
And I will say that is our sovereignty.
Yes.
When we can stand in our strength and our truth, no matter what else is happening, and we're not falling in line or doing something because you don't want to hurt their feelings, or, well, you could be wrong. Like, it's about finding and standing in our sovereignty. And that is, I think, where so many, that word gets thrown around all over the spiritual community, but when you actually start to understand it and practice it, sometimes it can be a little uncomfortable, right? Because you do have to let people go sometimes, because you realize your vibrational match just isn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a learning process. And sometimes when we go through divorces or friends or family members, you know, it can be hard, but it's always a learning opportunity for you to find and rediscover your truth. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And have compassion for yourself along the way, because we're just human here.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Find your people. That's what I say. Find your people. And not everyone is going to like your point of view either. And we have to be perfectly okay with that. And not everyone is going to understand you. And not everyone's going to try to understand you. And that's our shadows, is we want to be liked. We want to be loved. We want to be part of the cool girls. We want to be part of, you know, we wanted that. And when in reality, we are a collective within us. We are part of the cool kids. You just have to realize that it's you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love that. All right, so who has questions now? Anything else that's popping up? I think I had a couple more questions, but I want to see if anybody else had anything they wanted to ask.
I don't know, am I making anyone's ears bleed by now?
Nope, I'm good. I'm used to it. I'm used to bleeding ears.
I always know when I hit something on Athena, she goes silent for like 60 seconds. That's the longest you've gone silent for, and you're like, you hit a button, Sarah.
And you know what? That's the great thing about being conscious and having conscious friends, is that you can take a moment to feel it in the body and see if it's my truth. And you know, I did, like, we had a conversation earlier this week, and she hit a button. I was like, what the heck is that? What do you mean everything I'm thinking is like BS? Like, what? And I had to like dig into it, and I realized it was a past life trauma that I was still playing out in this life. And I was like, oh, tears, like within 2 minutes. So it happens. But when you can be in your center, when you can be in a place where you pause instead of reacting, like, oh, what the fuck, like responding, like that's when you know that you're making improvements, is because you're not just flowing it back, you're taking it in. You're like, is this my truth? What did she say that actually like kind of like ruffled my feathers? God damn Sarah for that. I love you. I actually do, because it was a great layer that I hadn't seen, or I saw a bit of it, but when she brought that forward, it was like a whole new thing. And so she's like, did I trigger you? And I was like, yeah, you did. But da, 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 da. So it's just, you know, we can have that in relationships. It's just like with a partner or something like that, you know, you can have that in relationships. You can have that conscious communication. But you have to be open, and you have to be willing to dig into yourself and see why something they said triggered you, right? It's a lot of times not them, it's you. So it's always a mirror. And so just bringing that into your everyday life is powerful.
And I'm hearing this, so I want to bring it up, and I don't know if it's on anyone's mind, is this belief system of the word evil. In shamanic traditions, evil does not exist. If you look at in nature, it's completely benign, and it's always, even though nature is in a constant state of entropy, even though it's constantly in a state of chaos, it is always moving into some form of beauty. And the belief of something is evil is created from the mind, right? It is created from humans, right? So we really have to challenge. And I went through a really big journey with, I mean, I've constantly fight in organized religion. I was that kid in Sunday school that was like, what do you mean? You know, Eve was the one that banished them from the garden. We're still in the garden. Like, I literally had to be sat down with the minister to be like, she just doesn't understand. They had to talk to my parents. And I'm like, no, I understand. I think I was like maybe 4 or 5 years old. I understand fully. You don't understand. So what do you mean the serpent was evil? No. So it's all a belief. And when we hear those things and see how they trigger within our bodies, just know that they're alive within our, like, it's hot wired into our system. So when we believe like another person is evil, or there are evil things within out there, in reality is something really small within our shadows that is made into this really big thing from our ego, so that we don't go exploring over there. Because of what it means when something is growling and it's big, like when we're afraid of something under a bed or in our closet, is that is actually a key to our healing. It's a key to actually embody. And a lot of us as children have had those experiences where we've splintered and we've shut things out, we've thrown them into our shadows, and then we've become afraid of what's under the bed and what's in the closet. And that's why we say, what's your skeletons in your closet? Me, I'm like, open them up, I want to dress them up.
Well, and that's where, when you're in those areas, and I know for me, like I work with other light beings and things, and there's this whole like, evil races and all this stuff. And I literally had to like come to terms with, okay, what is really happening here? And I realized that I was like being racist with races. And then that was exactly the time where we had all that trauma here on the planet in 2020, right? There was so much going on with that. And I realized that what was playing out in my own consciousness, like, and what I was working with was playing out on the earth. And so you can start to, what's playing out on the earth can start to happen here, however you view it, right? It can start to play out. And just really asking the questions, being curious. What does this really mean to me? Why is this coming up to me right now? Why is this here for me? Like, it's just amazing when you can start to be curious about it. And I know some of you probably have heard the story, but I'm just going to share it again. I had this, I'm very clairvoyant, so I've always been able to see spirit and things like that. And a while ago, I had this like demon, straight up look demon, right? Like black, feathered, tarry, like crazy looking. And I'm like, what is that? And I was like too scared. I like closed my eyes, like, I don't want it. No. And it took me like a week to finally like go, okay, who are you really? What is really happening here? What's going on, right? And basically what happened is I was able to feel safe enough to look my fear in the face. And what I found out is I chiseled it away, and it was my inner child that was getting neglected. And it just spiraled out of control because I wasn't paying attention.
Right.
And so things like that, you might have a bad dream or this bad, like, ghosts and all the things. But if you can really just stop and be centered and find that safety within, pull in, if you need guides with you, pull in your guidance team, your angels, whatever that is, and be like, what is my truth? And take the time to actually look at yourself in the face, look Kali in the eyes, right? Look at her in the eyes, whatever it is to you, and be able to discover your truth through that. And it takes courage. It takes that just saying, yes, I want to know more about myself. And I no longer want to shove it under the rug, as Sarah says. I want to see it for what it really is, and what in that moment I saw was someone who needed love, right? And isn't that what so many of us are desiring right now? You know, a deeper love of self. And when we can find that within, the world changes.
I want to know how is everyone feeling in their body? Like, is this dropping into your gut? Is it in your heart? Like, where is it in your body? Because when we're kind of poked with different examples and, you know, and things like that, parts of our body start to light up. Yeah, Beth says her gut. Like, there are parts of our body. So it's like the somatic work. So when I work with ancestors, they show up as the nightmare they thought they were in that lifetime. So we show up in our shadows, how we really think we are. And it's really it's in our body somewhere. And we have to acknowledge that, you know, we're creating this like circus around ourselves. But to be compassionate, it was a survival mechanism for humanity for so long. And now we have the capacity to be able to do this work. And just so everyone knows, we all signed up to be here at this pinnacle moment. Yeah, trust me. I remember coming into this life and I argued tooth and nail because I knew how hard it was going to be. So, and I will say, like, the more aware you become, it's not easy. It does, each layer becomes like, ugh, like I thought I took care of this. You know, don't you get to the point where you're like, I thought here we go, you know? But it's the journey where our human minds don't have the capacity to be able to heal everything at once. And if we heal everything, then we're actually transitioning to another life. So in reality, I like to still create a little bit of karma so that I have a little extra skin in the game.
We like the serpent teaching us to shed the skin all at once, but let's say that's very uncomfortable.
It is very uncomfortable. You don't want to be eaten by the snake too, because that's happened.
Well, and that's kind of like the Shakti essence that we talked about earlier, is like, if you don't feed the snake, right, it's going to eat you. If you're not paying attention to your shadow self, it's going to come up and eat you, right? So just honor that.
Yes, absolutely.
So okay, so we kind of talked about your point of view. We talked about so much great stuff tonight. I love this call. That was really fun. So we kind of talked a little bit about how you work with these energies through the ancestors. I'm just going through my notes. What is a tip that you tell people, or that you want to tell people about working with the light and the dark, the life, the death, the process of transformation? Like, what tip do you want to leave them?
So to continue to challenge their stories and know that it's not a fight of being right or wrong, right? The second we start to fight, well, I'm right and this person's wrong, is where we start falling into the dark. Or if we fall into the I'm perfect, this is perfectly fine, then we're falling into the light. Like and when we fall further into the light, we cast a bigger shadow. So when we embody this work, it's more of like staying in your body as much as you possibly can and talk to your body. Where am I feeling this? What does this mean to me? You're integrating your mind and your body so that we can get past these two states that we're actually stuck in and we're fighting back and forth, and we can move through to what other cultures have been doing forever, and that's just the being and the allowing and that sacred relationship. But our culture, our society in United States, we are born on separation. So we just all acknowledge that we are all separated from our homelands. We're all separated from our bodies. We're all separated from our minds and our spirits. And we're trying to recall our energy back to us. And we need information. We need understanding. We need questions to ask ourselves and to only answer by ourselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. All right, so we're gonna go into a little meditation. I know we're gonna run a little over, but if you have to leave, I totally get it. This is recorded, so you can always watch the replay. There was so much amazing stuff that we just went through, so like you might want to watch it a couple times. And always, again, might not be your truth, right? So wherever you are, I just want you to get comfortable, right? Start by closing your eyes. All right, just really tuning into the body, right? We've been talking so much about the body, so let's tune in. So inhaling through the nose, and I want you to exhale out the mouth, and just feeling the breath. Notice how the breath feels. Notice how the breath sounds. Notice the temperature difference on the inhale and the exhale. I want you to tune in to any spot on the body that may be holding on to any discomfort. And I want you to use your breath to breathe life into that space. So inhale and expand that area. Exhale and let it go. Do that again. Inhale, expand. And exhale, let it go. I'm going to do that one more time. Inhale, expand. And exhale, release. Releasing any tension that you may be holding on to, letting it go, letting it flow. And then I want you to bring your attention to the top of your head. Just noticing that crown chakra. Taking a breath in, filling up that space. And then as you exhale, imagine that energy now traveling down your face to your third eye, down to your ear chakras, down to your throat chakra. Take another deep breath in here. And send that energy down the neck and the shoulders, all the way down the arms, to the hand chakras, to the fingertips, releasing into the earth. Again, bringing your attention to your chest and your back, breathing as you expand that space, creating space here. And then exhale, sending the energy down the sides of the body, down the back, down the lower chakras, the solar plexus, the sacral, and the root. And when you get to the root, expanding the energy with your breath. And then allowing the energy now to drop down your legs, into your knee chakras, your ankle chakras, and into your chakras of the feet. Just hanging out here, making connection with the earth. Breathing and relaxing through the body. Good. Take another breath here. And imagine your grounding cords are coming from that root chakra through the chakras of the feet. And you're going to go into the Earth Star chakra, which is a couple inches below the feet. Imagine your body, all of your senses coming with you into that Earth chakra. And then through the Earth chakra, we're going to go deeper and deeper and deeper. Remember, this is your pranic tube. These are your chakras that you're traveling through. So we're traveling into the chakras, the gateway of the inner cities, the gateway of the whales and the dolphins, and going all the way down to the heart of the mother. Sono koreasi, sono alamoya, dia koreasi chiasa. Anchoring your grounding cord all the way down your pranic tube into the heart of Gaia, wrapping your cords around the heart center of the planet, feeling that divine mother energy that's available to you at all times, feeling that compassion that she has for you. While you're here, we're going to invite the beautiful energies of the moon to join us. The moon happens to be in Aries, so we're going to invite the healed, the empowered aspect of Aries to join you at the heart of the planet. So as we invite these beautiful energies, I want you to make note of what they appear like, what they feel like, what they look like. Maybe a song's coming in. Maybe it's just a knowing. And we're inviting them into this sacred space with the intentions of divine love, healing, wisdom, and divine will. And I want you to imagine you're sitting next to the heart of Gaia. Maybe it looks like a tree or a huge crystal. Back to that crystal, the back of your chakras aligning with the heart. You're still anchored in. Imagine those roots coming out from the tailbone into the earth. And I want you to invite Aries to take a seat in front of you. And he's representing what you may be going through in your life on your current journey. So what does he look like to you? What does he feel like? And I want you to ask the questions that we talked about earlier in class. Ask Aries, in what ways am I creating division in my life? In what ways am I creating division in my own life? Allow any emotions that need to rise, allow them to rise. Where are they showing up in your body? Are you feeling that fire? Are you feeling that anger? Are you feeling agitation? Acknowledge it, witness it, be curious about it. Releasing it. I want you to take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, imagine that energy leaving the body and going back to the earth, seeping into the soil of the earth. May she recycle it for the highest and best good of all. Let it flow. And the next question I want you to ask yourself is, where in your life are you being too independent? Where in your life are you being too independent? And if the mind struggles, take another breath and focus. Ask your higher self to help you to see the truth beyond the illusions, beyond the mirrors. What is your truth? And again, I want you to feel it in your body. Is it showing up in a joint, in a chakra? Feel it, acknowledge it, sense it. And then I want you to take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, release it into the earth. May she recycle it for the highest and best good of all. Let it go. Now, the next question that you're going to ask Aries is, how can I come together in unity with people and within myself? How can I come into unity with people and with myself? Now I want you to feel this in your body. I want you to what does it feel like to be united? What does it feel like to remember that you're whole as you are in this moment? What does it feel like to know that you are supported on your journey? How does that make you feel? Feel it within your body. Where is it showing up for you? And again, with this, I want you to take a breath in, and then you're going to exhale, and you're going to release that into the earth. And you may be like, well, I want to hold on to unity. I want to hold on to this. We have to remember that energy is always flowing. And we are that sacred pillar of light to always transmute all energies. So send it into the earth. May she recycle it for the highest and best good of all. And if you have another question that you want to ask Aries, the moon, the earth, your guidance team, your higher self, your heart, whatever it is, I'm going to give you a moment to ask for additional guidance on your journey in this lifetime. Feeling those messages entering into your body. Maybe you were given the steps to take. Maybe it was a feeling, a word, maybe it was a gift or an object. Just take whatever that message was, placing it into your heart so you can continue on your life being the way shower, the leader, the healer, the mystic, the human, the star being all of it and none of it. Understanding that you are all and none, and how beautiful that actually is. Always staying curious, becoming the witness of your life and sharing your gifts with the world. Go ahead and take a moment and just send gratitude to the messages and to Aries and the earth here and to every single person watching this. Just sending out gratitude, love. And then slowly your energy is coming up away from the earth. Sorry, away from the heart in the center of the earth. You're coming up now past the sacred waterways. Your energy is coming up, 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 past the layer of bedrock, all the way up past the roots of the trees, that top layer of soil where you stand or sit. Now I want you to bring all of your energy, bring your energy up through your feet, up your legs, to your hips, your belly, your back, and settling into the heart space. Sodo koryo sabah lana koya si salano aya karya moya sutiasu. Bringing your hand to your heart and just repeating after me 3 times. My energy is fully restored. My energy is fully restored. My energy is fully restored. Bring your attention to the room, the noises around you. Wiggle the toes, wiggle the fingers. Take your time as you're coming back into your body, back into this moment. When you're ready, slowly come back. So if anybody would like to share, you can type that below, or if you just want to ride this out a little bit longer, you can. How are you feeling, Sarah?
That was wild. It was Aries was just a light being version of me, and it came in and like literally was bowing, and I was like, whoa, 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 that was really cool. But they did healing throughout the entire time. So as you were talking, I was actually they were bringing up things, and then I was finding it in my body, and then bringing it to the surface, and then trekking it back, and then letting it fall. But like my sacral was a freaking planet by the end.
I love that. All the carnelian, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, that's beautiful.
I actually pulled this card,
Oh, yeah.
and I did it. It's Winter's Dream, gestational period. Look at the spiral.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
And I couldn't really understand, but the being was exactly that color. And it was just like all the rays of light, and that we're going into this winter dream where we have to be okay with that like dusk type of light and be able to own our body and allow our body to heal in the womb of the planet. And by that, we're actually in turn giving energy back to the planet and healing at the same time.
Yeah, because we're all one. Our
Yeah,
body is
good
the
stuff.
planet, our blood is the water. So as we heal ourselves, we heal the planet. I love that. And Eka says that let me go back to the chat here. That was beautiful. My body is shaking. I hope your body is okay. Is your body okay? Like, do you feel like you need some more breathing, or is it just the energy vibrating through?
It's the energy vibrating through.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking. I'm okay.
Okay, good. Good. That's beautiful. Yeah, lots of great energies moving. Did anybody else want to share their experience or have any questions for us? Yeah, go ahead, Beth.
Okay, so mine was a little bit weird. It's like when we went down, it's like Aries came but my fire dragon chased him away
Ooh.
and kept pushing him back. So I don't know what was going on with that. And he ushered me back up into my body
Okay.
from down in the earth and then put his front right foot on my heart.
Mm.
It was, yeah, like intense.
So what comes up for me, and of course, always tune in with that and ask the deeper questions. But what kind of comes up for me is, where are you still afraid of looking into your wounded shadow side of the warrior?
Mm.
Right? Because oftentimes, like when our panthers or when our jaguars or when our serpents or when our archetypal energies, our dragons come forward, they're protecting us, which oftentimes it's something within us that we're not quite ready for. Right? So
Mhm.
so just looking into that, and maybe even doing some journaling after this, and just tuning into your higher self and just saying like, what was that really about? You know, when you can feel safe and tune into that. Sarah, did you have
Cool.
anything else you wanted to say?
Nope,
Yeah,
that was it.
Oh.
I do know, Beth, that you're intensely in the fire element. So it was
Yes.
probably more like things need to be transmuted. And he's like, we're not done yet, sister. We're not done
Yeah,
yet.
that's probably it. Yeah, I know, because I'm still I'm very heated from Sunday. It's like
Yeah.
it's good though. I mean, I'm feeling awesome, but it's warm.
Yeah, just ask him to tone it down, and he's very, very protective of you. But yeah, those journal prompts that Athena was saying are going to be really good. Get in tune with him because he's got some magic for you.
Okay, thanks you guys.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
That's an awesome experience. Anybody else want to share what they got? Feeling good? Feeling like wooey? I know I can bring in some pretty intense energy sometimes. So if you're new to meditation, just keep practicing. Okay, just keep practicing, and it gets easier to hold the energy. Okay. All right. Well, if you guys don't follow Sarah and I, make sure that you find us on Facebook, and you can follow us if you ever want to work deeper into the realms. You can always reach out to us. I know Sarah does a lot of workshops, as do I. So just keep up. If you have questions, you can always private message us as well. I'm so happy that you all joined. We are also, I have this recorded, so I will upload this, and where am I going to share it? If you guys want it, you can just let me know. I'll put it on my YouTube channel, and then I can share it from there. So if you guys want to replay, just let me know and I can send it. Okay. All right. Well, that's what I had for you, Sarah. It was amazing. I knew this was going to be a great night. I just didn't know how magical it would really be. So thank you for saying yes.
Thank you for having me.
Next month, I'll be having another one of these, so just with a different person. So stay tuned for more information on that. Okay. You guys, I hope you all have a great night, and we'll talk later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.